right. Look, tonight, oh man, this is the very first episode of the Indie Unplugged right here on We Create Music TV. Of course, you've seen me plenty of times. My name is Vaughan, the host and creator of the Indie Unplugged, We Create Music TV. Tonight, I have two amazing people with me tonight. I have Elle B. I have Yohance, who are going to be with us. We're just going to sit back, chop it up, talk about music, and specifically talk about our own journey. So I'd like to give just a warm welcome to each of my co-hosts for the night. So
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you. Thank you for
yeah, yeah,
having
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
What
So
up, though, y'all?
let's get the applause. I wasn't going to do the applause at first. Let's get the applause going on. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yes. Mm-hmm. That's right. So like I said, we're just gonna sit back, chop it up, kind of just talk about our journey. So I'm interested in learning more about Elle B. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, let's talk
Let's
about
get
Elle
to
B.
it. What you want to know?
Like, how'd you get started in this whole music thing? Like, let's talk about that.
Well, getting started with music, I say, like, I come from a musically inclined family, so it always been in me.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, I never knew exactly what I'm supposed to do with music, if that makes sense.
Mm.
I never cared for my voice or any of that growing up.
Why is that? Why not?
I just never thought I could sing. I guess because I look at singers as singers. And and back home, my family, they gospel singers and they got these big voices, and I ain't got that. So I never looked at myself as like a singer. I never saw myself holding mics or any of that. But I knew I liked to write.
Okay.
I'm a storyteller. I like to tell the story. I love to write. So when I moved to Atlanta, it was strictly as a songwriter. I saw the vision of me just being a songwriter, and while on my journey as a songwriter, I was led to accept the challenge of being an artist. So
it is a challenge.
it's a challenge.
It's a challenge of being an artist.
It's a totally different ballpark.
Yeah. So for you, so making that transition, what were some of the challenges you saw in going from a songwriter to an artist?
Number one thing, finding a way to love my voice, finding a way to love my sound as a songwriter. Like I never was the person that cared to deliver the song. Let's get the song out. Let's get it written. And I love to hear a vocalist bring a song to life. I know my lane. I'm okay with that. And I don't feel like that's putting myself down. I'm okay with knowing my lane. So that was one of the biggest challenges for me, learning to just embrace my voice. Like, girl, this is what God gave you.
Right.
And he's
that's right.
putting you in a position where you have to use your voice, whether it's speaking, singing, So that was the hardest thing.
Because you know what they say, you don't use it, you lose it.
You lose it. He'll take it from
That's
you.
what they say. They say
she,
you
take it from
you don't use it, you lose it. So yeah, I think that's and I think that's the thing, right? Getting comfortable with your voice.
Mhm.
So how did you do that? How did you get comfortable with it?
Well, I can say that I had some type of practice from when I got a chance to write with different artists. When I was a part of WSA, shout out to WSA. I grew a lot.
What's WSA?
Writing sessions.
Kevin?
America.
Kevin Shine? Kevin Shine.
Shout out, because that's where I grew tremendously as a songwriter. That's where I met, a lot of artists. I grew there. So when I left WSA, I was able to take a lot that I learned.
Okay.
I can say that. So I think that played.
Did we ever meet at a WSA meeting?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like we did.
I've been to a bunch of them with Kevin.
Yeah. When I did the one interview, because I was already following you.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I feel like.
That's why I was like, I feel like we probably had met at a WSA meeting before. Because Kevin used to have him at his apartment. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we probably met there. So that's where I feel like I got to grow, because I had, at that time of my journey, I did have like a musical family where we could be honest with each other and grow with each other. So when you asked that, I would say that played a big part.
Yeah, I think that's important because I don't like my voice.
Yeah.
And we'll get into my whole journey, but I think that's important, learning how to be comfortable with your own voice.
In so many different ways for me. Not only did I not like my singing voice, but even my speaking voice. And sometimes I wonder
I
if
feel you.
how I sound, and a lot of that was childhood trauma. I'm
Mm.
open book. I talk about
Yeah,
everything,
hey, me too.
but a lot of that I learned it was childhood trauma, being called slow as a child.
Mm.
I know in elementary school I had a really bad list. Like I couldn't say nothing with an S,
Mm-hmm.
so it's all like tho.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I
Yeah,
talked in elementary.
kids
So
are kids are cruel.
yeah, so I literally had to take a speech class to learn how, so for
Mm.
many, and then there's other things that we may later get into, but for many reasons, I just didn't like my voice, whether it was singing or speaking.
Wow.
And I'm still overcoming that at this big age.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Yeah.
but I've learned to look at it more as an adventure than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm having fun becoming this new person
Mm.
that God is, directed me to become.
So how do you feel about the new person you're becoming?
I'm loving her. It's like I wish I was tapped into you a long time ago. We
Right.
wouldn't let a lot of stuff pass, or So
Well,
I'm loving.
well, I mean, but do you think it would have had a different impact on you if you became that person then than it would have became that person that you're
I,
becoming now?
I supposed to become it now.
Yeah.
Everything is on time. So yeah, I I feel like I wouldn't have went through half the experiences that I went through
Mm-hmm.
had I already been this person.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm grateful.
That's what's up.
And
Yeah,
I'm glad I ain't gonna say she arrived. I still got a long way to go. I'm working on confidence. I'm working. Anybody got some tips out there for me? Holler at me. So I'm still working on all of that. I ain't got no shame in saying that part.
Mm-hmm.
But I give myself grace and I'm grateful for where I have come.
Mm. I think that's the thing, right? It's giving yourself grace. I mean,
Yes.
I'm my biggest critic.
Yes.
And
We all
so
are.
I will go ham on myself but if I don't give myself grace, then it's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing it. You're doing what you're supposed to do, right? You're taking strides
Mm-hmm.
because, oh boy, I could beat myself up.
And it's not good.
No, this is
We all
not
do.
good at all. Not good at all. So what prompted you to move from St. Louis, right? We from St. Louis,
STL.
Midwest, you know what I mean?
Ew.
Like we in there, Delmar Loop, you know what I'm saying? Like you sit
St. Louis Avenue.
let me go through it, you know. But so what prompted the move from St. Louis to ATL?
Atlanta. Well, I knew a long time before even moving. I moved here back in 2015. But I knew by the time, I'll say around 2013 came around, that I knew I wanted to move to Atlanta.
Mm.
I didn't quite know how, but the way everything ended up happening, it just organically, it worked,
Oh.
But I knew in 2013 when I really began to commit to being a songwriter, I knew I was ready to take that serious.
Mm-hmm.
My heart automatically just knew Atlanta was where I needed to be to grow. And I don't think you have to leave St. Louis to achieve musical goals. Some people don't. I'm one of them people that had to leave and grow.
Yeah, I feel
So salute to the folk that can stay there and grow. But I needed the experiences. And boy, what has it been some experiences I couldn't imagine was coming.
So did those experiences that you went through, how have they shaped Elle B?
As we were saying, they shaped me into the person that I've found myself becoming. It forced me to have to find my voice because I have dealt with so much homelessness since moving to Atlanta, basically. I ain't finna play long violin, but I moved here in 2015. Had just got my credit together, was excited. You couldn't tell me I wasn't finna meet Kelly Rowland. I had a whole song specifically for her. Had these big dreams, and God like, daughter of mine, real quick. I'm gonna take you to close to a decade of turmoil, but you're gonna be all right. So like how everything just ended up happening. Like I said, I moved here in 2015 and I haven't had my own key to my own place since 2015. Moving here with no family, like everybody who then blessed me, who've been that ram in the bush, were people that I met here. Starting with an Uber driver that heard my story, just like, no, I want to help. It's the whole time it's just been, help.
Yeah.
and so much gratitude for that.
Mm,
But experiences of living in different places, different households, around so many energies, learning do's and don'ts. And, because in St. Louis, I had a lot of day one friends.
right.
We're
Yeah.
comfortable with each other. And if so coming here and just like not knowing nobody, having to completely prove myself, it was experience after experience, good and bad, hurtful.
True.
Some made me happy, some was hurtful, but ultimately the experiences helped me find my voice, helped me find a bigger part of myself,
Mm,
you know. So
yeah. 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 So.
and let me know I'm built for a lot. It let me know I'm built for more than I gave myself credit for.
Mm,
Like being the underdog that I am, and people that know me would agree. Like I'm definitely people didn't see this artist coming. A
ah,
lot of people like, when did this happen? That's how
mm,
much of out of my nothing that I'm doing is me. Like when people say God's plan, like this is really God's plan. Nothing that
mm.
I'm doing right now is my plan because I wouldn't be doing
Right.
it.
Yeah. If it was my plan, I wouldn't be.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Did you have any questions? Did
Oh
you want
nah, I
anything you want to
mean,
dig in with LB?
well, pretty much. I mean, it's her story is kind of like
Like,
mine. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just listening.
let's get
Listening,
into your story.
listening and learning.
Listen and learn.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
cause
Yeah.
she a writer. You know what I'm saying? I always be looking for writers. So
I would love to
yeah,
work.
Yeah. 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 Yohance is always looking for writers. He's always working with
Mhm.
I'm
producers and
like
artists and.
like everywhere. I'm doing everything.
Hmm.
Let's
Yeah,
get it done.
yeah.
Hmm.
I'd like
Hmm.
to hear more about your story.
Oh, it's crazy.
Let's talk about Yohance for a little bit.
What's up? What's up?
Who
What you need to ask
who
me?
is Yohance?
Huh. Let's see. It's like for me, it's one of those things. Like I started off as a music fan, going to concerts and shows. Then I started planning shows. Then I became a manager. Then I became an A&R. It's crazy, man.
Mm.
How that whole process worked out.
So talk about what was that process?
Well, becoming a fan, then somebody asked me,
Mhm.
I just had ideas. I'm like, y'all should do this, and why don't you plan a show? Then I started planning shows. Then going from the show, then somebody needed a manager, and they asked me to be. I was like, I ain't never been to a manager, and then I managed the group. Me and 40 Mil. 40 Mil was a
Big
producer,
40.
and then the Cranberry Show, they were the artists, and then
Hold on, wait. What's the name?
the Cranberry Show.
The Cranberry Show.
The Cranberry Show.
Were they
Two black
hip
guys,
hop, R&B,
and they
country?
both of them skateboarded.
What
Yeah.
type of music they do though?
It's kind of. I'm trying to think of what group I could relate them to. Kind of like how Pharrell, like kind of like how they were,
Neptune.
Okay, the
like
Neptunes.
Neptune. They were like Neptune sound.
And they
And
call
this is in Milwaukee.
they call
I'm from
themselves
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
the
So
Cranberry.
the Cranberry Show.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go look. I'm gonna have to go look up some music from the
No,
Cranberry Show.
I'm gonna play something for
Oh
you.
yeah, I gotta hear it.
Yeah,
I gotta hear it.
yeah. I'll play something for you. But yeah, it was pretty much that. And it's like when I moved down here, it was 2011, and then I stayed at my sister's crib for a little bit,
Mm.
and then I ended up buying a townhouse. Like I used to work at a nightclub, and I'm also a veteran, so I made
Go
money from
Vets.
money from the military, and then money from working in the club, and I just saved up a bunch of money. My dad was a veteran, so I put a bunch of money on the crib, and ended up getting a crib. So I've been staying there since 2012.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Same thing for you, like Milwaukee to Atlanta.
yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like my sister, she was like, yeah, why don't you like come down here and look for jobs? Because I'm a veteran, and
Mhm.
it's like when they see you're a veteran, it's harder for you to get a job. Like for me, it's hard. You know what I'm saying? They
I don't,
thought I was gonna ask them. I'm like, I'm trying to get a job.
I don't think people know that though.
Yeah,
Like
they
I think
don't
they
know
think
that.
it's easier for us as
No, it's
veterans
not. Yeah.
to get jobs, but when they see
Mhm.
your veteran status, they're like,
Oh, he gonna ask
"Oh,
for a
he gonna
bunch of
ask
money.
a
Yeah.
bunch of money. Are you disabled?"
No, I'm not
No,
disabled.
no. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah,
That's what
they
they.
yeah.
Are you disabled? Dang, is he going to have to be off a lot because he's disabled? Like,
Yeah.
nah, I feel you. I understand.
Yeah, it's like trying to get them jobs, and it's like I ended up working in security, and I did that in Virginia, just to have some extra money. I making money in the military, and then outside
We're in Virginia.
in Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh yeah,
Norfolk, Virginia, and Little Creek Amphibious Base.
Yeah. Norfolk.
So I was both of those. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I was there from 2000 to 2004.
In Norfolk?
Yeah. But it was like I went on tour 3 times. So I've been to Iraq like 3 times.
Nah,
You know
I'm
what I'm
good.
saying? Like
I'm good.
and I was an engineer, so I was on boats and I was on land. So I did that on boats, and then I had to fix stuff on land, which was crazy because I'm working with Marines and Army. So yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah. Like, but I know a lot of people who are military, and then they end up becoming music people.
Yeah, like Smitty.
Like Smitty Boy. Yeah. Like Smitty's a vet.
I see him all the time at the VA. I work at the VA, so yeah.
Like, you're a vet and work at the VA. You work right at the place. You got to go get the medical.
Yeah, right there.
Like,
I mean, it's easy. I'm right there.
But here's the thing, though. Can you get like, if something happened on work, you just go right from there, right to the doctor?
Like literally. Like I didn't even tell you about this. Like I passed out a couple weeks ago. Like
you told me.
Oh yeah, I had a seizure. I've never had a seizure, and people like, you should try to get money for this, and everybody's trying to get money. Like, oh, you should get this for money, right. And but I got to figure out what's going on with that. So
I'm glad you're okay.
Oh yeah, I'm good. Like it's like me, I'm fine, but everybody else is like, man, you had a seizure. I'm like, nah, it's cool. I'm good.
You said that was the first time that ever.
Yeah, I never had a seizure before.
Yeah. We talked about it. I'm glad that. Yeah. I'm glad that you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cause that could be scary.
Yeah, cause it's like they gave me the seizure medications, and like I'm good now.
Like yeah.
Like yeah.
Yeah. We can't have another one of those though.
Nah, man.
No sir.
Like, I got a bike and everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm making sure, cause I got to get myself back into shape, cause COVID messed everything up. Like. After this interview, I'll show you a picture of what I used to look like. You're going to be like, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, the first time I met, I think I don't know if I told you this, like the first time I met Yohance, and it was not really a meeting that he and I had. It was, okay, remember Smitty did the...
the beat battle?
Yeah. The thing got controllerized, and I was there filming him. And so we didn't meet that night though, but I came back.
Okay.
So we didn't meet that night. I think it's when Payday had the interview. And then I went back and watched the video with Smitty.
Yeah, you saw.
I saw he was in the video. I was like,
yeah, because I took Amaya Jackson there. I took him up.
Oh,
there.
you took AJ?
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
I'm cool with AJ.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't answer my Anyway,
you want me to? Me to reach out to him?
I'm gonna call you, AJ. If you ever watch this, just let you know I am going to call you to talk about this thing. But so how'd you become an A&R though?
Well,
because you went from being a manager,
being a manager,
Cranberry
and then,
show.
Yeah, from the Cranberry Show, and then I got an A&R. But it's one of those things. I'm still learning, because the music game, everything changes up. It's like they figure out one way to keep money from you. And
exactly.
You know how crazy that get. Like one point in time, like even back in the day, like they were making so much money, then they had to figure out, how to, hold it up. Like I'm all about getting the artists paid. You know what I'm saying?
So do you think A&Rs are as relevant today as they used to be?
Not necessarily. It's one of those things where like I still do it. People still ask me to do it. But it's not like that, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you got more DJs and people going live on, on TikTok, and they getting these spins because they got real popular off of that.
Right.
It's like TikTok and Snapchat.
So social media has now become like the kind of the new A&R.
Yeah, I mean it's not even an A&R. It's just
Right.
They get the song get real popular and they play it again. They be like, oh, I like that song.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's not nobody, ain't no A&R.
That's exactly how it happened for people. Too.
Yep.
Exactly. That's
Yep.
exactly how it happens to people.
Yep.
Like the kids, like they're gonna make a little dance and everything. For
That's
it.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm still trying to figure out TikTok, and well, I mean, it may not be no more TikTok.
I know, ain't that silly?
Biden gets his way.
Yeah.
That's so silly.
It's still gonna be around because it's gonna be somebody that's gonna bring it back.
Just like how Vine existed and all the. You're talking about if you sell it, yeah, of course. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not gonna.
MySpace.
Right.
Like MySpace days.
MySpace is
That's
crazy.
Right. Yep. So now, as far as your journey now, kind of talk a little bit about that. What do you? I kind of want to hear Elle B's thing too. Like, kind of like now, what are you kind of looking forward to, kind of doing right now that you're passionate about, as far as this whole music thing?
Like right now, I'm learning about sync licensing. Like that's really what I like. I'm finding out. Like let's see, I could use Audio Anthem. You know what I'm saying? Like how much he got paid off of one sync off a movie. He bought his whole crib and a truck off of that. Just think about how much money that is.
Yes, sir.
With sync, like one song can have like multiple streams if they come from that one song.
That one song.
Yeah,
one song. And I'll be like, when he told me that, and I said, what? Say what now? When he told me that price, I said, dude, and I went and looked at it, and that's how much it was. And they'll tell you to take certain stuff out. Like, oh, I don't like those drums. Take the drums off of that and make it a little shorter, stretch it. That's how you get the songs.
Yeah.
Some people like they give up. Like I'll go to meetings. I network. All day. So like I'm gonna figure it out.
Like I'm gonna tell you, sync is actually where it's at. Sync is really where it's at. Yep. Like it really is. I know a lot of people especially producers, are chasing after artists.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with working with artists. But I'm telling you, sync licensing is where it is.
Yeah.
I was talking to so I have a series coming out called Sync Masters, which airs June 3rd at 7 p.m.
Right? I know all the people.
Yeah. So I got Jay Nolan, Clint Music, London Elixir, Dre Phantom, Ian Brahms. So this is all season 1, right?
Yeah.
And they talk about everything related to sync licensing, how you approach music supervisors and libraries and getting paid, and how you structure music for sync licensing. The whole sync is literally.
Yeah, and you gotta appreciate when they don't gatekeep. And brother Jay Nolan, I heard you mention him. I had purchased his pen game portfolio.
Oh yeah,
I think he got 1 and 2, and it was something else specifically for licenses. But he dropped I took a lot of notes. I haven't been able to dive into
Pass
it yet.
Pass those notes to me now.
I'm telling you that I actually got him on the Google Doc. Okay. I'm serious. I took a lot of notes. He give out a lot of information. It sounds like it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be June 3rd. It's gonna be. We're in the middle. We're in the process of editing the whole thing now. It's gonna be dope.
Like it.
But in that conversation, I was talking to Jay Nolan, and we were talking about the difference between chasing the artist and getting sync placements. And he's like, and he's an artist himself. He doesn't really produce, but he's like, if you are a producer trying to work with an artist, you're only gonna. This was crazy. You're only gonna go so far. He said, but sync licensing will take you to a whole different place. So he was in NBA K 2022. I think that was
talking about for the video game.
Yeah, for the video game.
Yeah.
For the video game.
I know a bunch of people that have been on there.
You know how many units that game sold?
Yep, a bunch.
10 million units.
Yeah.
I said, brother, check this out. I said, you have a song that has sold 10 million units, even though it's in a video game. Like you got artists who don't even sell, major artists who don't even sell 10 million units. Oh yeah, sync is. Oh man,
that's where it's at.
Oh my gosh, if I had the patience to do sync, I would do it.
It's one of those things like with artists, and I'm still learning. I'm like, dude, you could put a corny song out and it's gonna sell. Like if it like if it's something for a scene of a movie, you think it's stupid, but it's gonna be popular because they gonna keep remembering that song.
That's right.
You know,
Perfect for that scene.
yeah,
Perfect
for
for
that
that scene.
commercial.
for that scene,
or for
yeah.
that- yeah.
That's right.
It's just like even the older artists are getting in these commercials. Like you hear an artist, you be like, "Man, I heard it was like a Young MC song came out like a few years ago," and I'm like, "Dude, is getting sync off of that." And the song was back in like the early '90s, and it got
was it
synced.
Bust a
Young
Move?
MC.
Yeah.
Bust a Move, yeah, Bust a Move.
Yeah, Bust a Move, and I'm like, dude is getting sync off of that. Yeah,
That's right. That's right. Sync sync is literally where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, if I had the patience to do sync licensing,
I got the patience.
Got the patience, got the desire.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Because the turnarounds are so quick. Like
Audio Anthem, like just talking to him, I'm like, dude.
So quick. Like so because I did a song with Clint.
Okay.
And so for sync, so we did this song and he submitted it for placement. I don't know if he got placed yet. But because he did that, I now have access to a music library portal that I didn't have access to. Didn't have access to that before. But man, I get all of those briefs. Right now, I get the briefs. I'm like, because I was interviewing him, I was like, so okay, talk about the briefs. What does that look like? Now I see what they look like. Oh my gosh, some turnaround times are so, yeah. Hey, we need this tomorrow. Like, what? Wait, I don't even have anything to match it. I gotta go make something brand new. Yeah. But I gotta go, eat dinner and be with the kids. And yeah, I don't know if I have that.
Yeah, nah, you could do it cause like I said, they'll tell you to take certain stuff out of song. Like we just want this part of the song, and you be like, damn, that's all you want. And they'll take it and it'll get placed. Like they'll reach back out to you, send you your check, and you good to go.
That's right. Oh yeah, and they pay. That's the
I know, and like,
they not negotiating.
They pay.
They're not like, hey, can you? I pay you an exposure.
Yeah,
I pay you. That they actually gonna give you some money.
Give you what you posted.
That's right. Absolutely.
And it's like you could be in sync licensing and don't win no Grammys or nothing, but you're getting paid.
Exactly. And I know a lot of people that do sync licensing, they ain't got Grammys. But guess what? Yeah. They own their houses.
Yep.
They own their cars. They ain't got no bills because, like they don't have to. They get money from sync, and they're not chasing artists. They just answer their briefs all day, make music, submit it.
Yep.
That sounds so amazing.
It sounds crazy, right?
And,
I'm like,
to be able to do that, just to be able to do that, man.
But it's like you could get like a song that's in a bunch of syncs. You know what I'm saying? Like one song will be in a bunch of syncs, or you could just have that one song be, you get all the money off of that, and it don't, because it's licensing for that. It's one of those things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. What about you, LB? Like, what do you see yourself, getting into now, being passionate about now, as far as your own direction?
Well, right now I'm getting comfortable with performing, getting comfortable on the stage, getting comfortable with speaking, hoping to be able to pick back up on my vocal lessons, just doing the things that I am, I can do for now, the things that I know I'm going to have to do, whether, eventually I'm going to have to do these things anyway. So
exactly.
I can't be an artist if I'm scared to, got to get comfortable on stage. Like if I'm just sitting back amongst people, I talk to you all day, you would get the real me. But if I'm on stage, I'm finding my way to getting comfortable and just being my authentic self.
It's easy. It's easy.
Yeah, just
shoot. How's it easy? How?
When you being your authentic self, it is.
Yeah.
Being your authentic self. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I always have been it.
Yeah, for that. Yeah.
But just be yourself around other people. Like
I don't care. That's tough, bro. Like,
hey, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who I meet.
Well,
this is me.
Yeah, this
Take
is
it
me.
Let it alone. This is me.
But is it okay? So does it have to do with who you are as a person meeting someone, or who you are as an artist putting your music out there for the masses to listen to and to enjoy?
What do you like as far as me?
Yeah, being your authentic self. Do you find yourself right? Because before we started, you were like, oh, I'm kind of a shy person, right?
Yeah.
Does that shy person, when you are now, I don't want to say forced, that's the right word. Um, Now you got to perform.
Yeah.
Is that you being your true authentic self, or do you, or it's a shy person who you really? And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I'm asking. I'll tell you why. I'll
You
tell you.
good?
No, you go ahead if you
I'll
want to
answer
answer. Yeah,
first.
yeah. I'll
No,
tell you.
either way. Um, I think it's all one because this shy
Mm,
person is. I'm shy. Maybe I shouldn't keep using that word because I've kind of grown past it. If this was 2 years ago, I think that's what I would be saying. But I have to acknowledge my growth. But I'm still coming into that, and I don't know. I guess the shyness that I have, I'm always my authentic self.
mm-hmm,
I'm gonna say that I'm always my authentic self, but it also goes back to that childhood trauma that I was talking about
mm.
earlier. So I'm also on stage wondering if they're noticing this. Do people see this? Do I sound like this?
See,
Do
that's
I, I love to dance, but I have yet to just let loose when I'm performing. Like if I could just
just
perform
do
on
it.
stage the way I do when I'm just by myself,
See, that's what I'm talking about right there.
but
Yeah, yeah,
when I get in front of people, I allow all these irrelevant thoughts
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
so it's like just be yourself. Like when you talking to people in general, you just have organic conversations.
Mhm,
So when you're performing, let the conversation flow, connect with the audience. Like
mhm,
just don't the people that don't rock with you, that's okay. I hope that they enjoy for now. The people you're
mhm,
supposed to connect with, you will, but be yourself. If your lists come out, oh well, let it. you know, if whatever it may be, and that's why I always go back to that childhood trauma
mm.
of things that you know. But I'm also, like I said, I'm growing past
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
for
I have to
sure,
acknowledge that I've
for
gotten a
sure.
lot better,
Hey, that's what's up.
so
Yeah, I think that's. I don't think we recognize how our upbringing impacts the grown-up us and the things that we experience as we're growing up, and how that reflects or projects itself as we get older. And it's like,
a
man,
lot.
I never would have thought that that would have been the situation that causes me to, do what I'm doing now, or
Hmm.
to be a more reserved person or a more outspoken person, or and
Whatever it may be for
whatever it
you.
may be. Our environment really dictates a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's why I was asking, right? Because I know at times that we as people can allow others' opinions and thoughts that they project onto us cause us to not show our authentic self.
Hmm.
And that's why I was asking that
That
question.
childhood trauma. That and I talk about it often as far as my experiences. I put it
Mm,
in songs. I'm Gen X baby. So growing up in the 80s as this dark skinned girl just wasn't what was up. So it was a lot of trauma that came just from being in the 80s and 90s as a dark
mm-hmm.
skinned girl. Um, just a lot of things to where even in my adult life,
Yeah,
you still
yeah,
fighting past it.
yeah.
I didn't even find, and I talk about it, I ain't, for me personally, find nothing even remotely attractive about myself until I was in my mid 20s.
Mm,
Like that's how bad, you know.
mm.
But I can't say I had a horrible upbringing
Right,
either.
right.
I was raised, by my grandparents. My upbringing was what it was,
Mhm.
but it wasn't horrible. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't necessarily say that, because
Right.
our childhood we played all we played all the
We played
games
we played
growing
out
up.
we
Our
played
neighborhood
outside.
was like a family.
Right.
I had my grandparents, and then we remember when the crack epidemic hit, like just in one summer, it
Oh,
went from
oh my
being
Mhm.
gosh.
a village
Trust
to
me.
everybody zombied out,
Oh
and
yeah.
I
Crazy.
watched a lot of my friends have to deal with that, but by the grace of God, I had my grandparents. So that's what I'm saying. I want to make it seem like I had some horrible childhood, but culture wise, I guess.
No, I think
The
as Gen X, Gen X.
hmm
No, you Gen X too, right?
Well, I was born in the 70s.
Wait, what's
Yeah, what?
hmm
that's
Is it?
Gen X?
Yeah, Gen X. I'm Gen X.
96,
Yeah,
so
Gen
we
Yeah,
X.
about
Yeah.
Gen
80.
X. Hey, we the
Yeah.
Gen X's,
We
right?
They
Gen X.
say
Yeah.
in right
Gen X.
at 80, so
Yeah.
say
Yeah, yeah,
about
yeah.
82, 83.
Yeah, so Gen X,
Yeah,
right?
Gen X. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up in the 80s and 90s, we may have cause Gen X, right? I'm born in the 70s.
Yeah.
Dang, I think about it now, like, damn, born in the 70s.
We was lit though, like our childhood.
Yeah,
Our
yeah.
childhood
Come
was
on.
lit though. We was always outside. We didn't have
Yeah.
video games back then, so we was
Yeah.
always
In the
outside.
moment.
We was in the
Yeah,
moment, always
yeah,
outside.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, you're absolutely right. Like when that crack pandemic hit,
Mm-hmm.
epidemic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, when it hit,
It hit
it
hard.
hit hard.
And you have that going on simultaneously. You got the war on drugs. You have war on gangs. So while that's going on, all these gangs are starting to rise. So we
Mhm.
see our neighborhood turn from this to that. Now we also have to just become numb to drive-bys and all these people
Exactly.
coming up dead. You know,
Exactly.
it was just woof.
So we may not have had terrible childhoods, but we
Mhm.
saw a whole
We
lot of
saw-
stuff.
we saw
A whole lot of stuff
Yeah.
that shaped us
Mm-hmm.
to being who we are today. Whether it's good, whether it's bad. I mean, it just is what it.
Yeah.
I guess it is what it is, right?
No, no.
it-
The other
It was
shirt
all.
said
Oh, it was
what
all a
that's
dream.
The other shirt.
You used to read Word
It
Up
said-
magazine.
It is what it is. I thought I had that one.
Oh, okay. But yeah. I don't know. I guess it's my turn to talk about.
Yep.
I don't usually talk about me.
So
Yeah.
now we got to interview him,
Yeah,
right?
interview him,
So,
yeah.
how did you get started? No.
Oh my gosh. Well, my mom and my dad, they met and kind of conceived. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I can kind of. I mean, that's really how it happened, but man, kind of get into music. I've always loved music. Like music has always. We talk about the crack epidemic, right? Music was my way to escape all of that. Like without, I'm an open book, right? It don't even matter.
Same, right.
If my family watches the show, y'all know what it is. Y'all experience it right along with me, so I don't even care.
Mhm.
Like my mom was a crack addict, right? And she got caught in the epidemic. Like, and I, as a 13, 14-year-old boy, saw all of it. Stuff
Mhm.
being sold, her going to jail. It was. I didn't have a bad childhood, but I
You
grew up
still
in
yeah.
I grew up in the crack epidemic, and so music was the way that I escaped. It was my way of not dealing with the reality that I was faced with. My mom's in jail, but I'm at home by myself. It's like, and this,
Yeah.
and the reason why I didn't get moved to is because my stepdad was there. So I appreciate you for that. But he was there, and that's why the state didn't come and go, well, we got to take him and put him in a foster place because you got to go to jail for however long.
Mhm.
So
That was a blessing to have.
that was a major. I thank him for that. I don't know if I ever told him. I had to call him and tell him and let him know.
It was meant to say it at this moment.
Yeah.
I don't hear it.
I don't ever thank him for that, but I really thank him for that because when she got out of jail, I was able to still see her, and so we were able to still keep that family together.
Heal through it, and
yeah. So they eventually got married, and we went over to Germany, and they had two my younger brothers, and but yeah, music was my way to deal with that.
So he was in the military. He
Yeah.
was Army?
Yeah. My stepdad was in the
Yeah.
army. He didn't want me to go into the army, and so boy.
Yeah.
When I was in high school in Germany, and me and a friend of mine, Nick Sternberg, we went to the Army recruiter will come to the school the Army recruiter will come to the American high school that we had to recruit students who were in JROTC, which I was in, to come to be in the military. Right? They were allowed to do that, and so
Wow.
I remember that.
yeah, me and Nick were like, all right, bet. We were like, bet, we'll go. And so we ended up going to whatever unit. We got sworn into the same unit that Elvis was a part of. And so while I was in high school, I was in the military. Like that was really weird. I was in a unit but I couldn't go to basic training, not like that at the time. So when I got out, I went to basic training and all that stuff. But yeah, it was how I just dealt with all of it. And so I just love music. I come from a musically inclined family, even though I've never met any of the music people in my family. Right? I've never met Whitney Houston. Supposedly we unrelated. I never met Dionne Warwick. I never met Dennis Edwards. Never met any of these people. I know my dad sang on the street. He was in a doo-wop group. In a doo-wop group. I know my grandmother had an amazing voice. And so music, I always wanted to be a singer. So I grew up as a singer. And I did that from a small kid all the way through high school.
Oh yeah, you let me hear some of your stuff.
I don't sing anymore because when I went into the Army, I wowed out. I started smoking cigarettes and drinking, and I didn't pay attention to music again after that until I eventually got out, and I was like, you know what? Where did my love for music go? I still want to do music, and so I ended up finding some guys who sang. We started a group, and we never really went anywhere. And then we broke up, and then I found some more guys in Virginia. Right, I'm originally from Virginia. So I'm originally from a small town called Hopewell, Virginia, which is near Fort Lee, which is a military base. Okay. All my parents and aunts and uncles ended up there because my grandfather was in the Army. He was a sergeant major at the military base of Fort Lee, and so that's how we ended up there. And I was really born in Baltimore. And Baltimore. Sorry, relatives who still live in Baltimore, but oh gosh, thank you, Mom, for not keeping us there. Oh my gosh. But I eventually, the last group that I was in, I was like, if we're not going to go anywhere, we're not going to really take this serious, then I'm going to go learn how to make music. I don't want to sing anymore. I'm just going to go figure out how to make music for other people to sing to. And that's what I did. I bought a whole bunch of equipment and tried to figure it out. And I'm not musically inclined to play keys, so I never really learned how to play keys. I can play chords that I want and all that stuff, but I never really. I still don't really. I still can play what I want to play, but not in that sense. So I just was like, I'm just going to be a music producer and work with artists and do that. But somewhere in 2017. I took a different approach. I said, I still love making music, but I'm going to start a platform where I showcase other people. And that's how We Create Music TV actually was born. It started off as a Instagram posting service where I would post other people's music. And hey, I got this new song that just came out. Can you post it? Sure. Hey, check out Yohance's new song. I got a beard and right. I got a beard that drops on this day. Make sure y'all check it out. And that's what I did. And it grew. I mean, it grew like instantly. And then we ended up moving to from Virginia to St. Louis. And then from St. Louis to Atlanta. I got to Atlanta because I felt like Atlanta was it. Yeah. Like I felt like that was a city that was going to blow up. I'm still waiting for the blow up.
But you know why you were led here.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the blow up. But that's the thing, right? And those are probably conversations that we'll have later on. It's like, did moving to Atlanta really, because I've been there 6 years, did it really achieve what I truly wanted it to achieve? Because we originally were going to move to Nashville. And we thought Nashville was where we were going to be. And then we changed trajectory and we moved to Atlanta. From STL to ATL, right? And so when I got here, that's when I started really doing We Create Music TV. I took it from just being a platform where I posted people to being a platform where I interviewed artists and music producers and the whole gamut. And honestly, I did it really selfishly though. I did it for selfish reasons. I did it so that because I was a music producer. And so what's
you can have artists.
Yeah. That's right. That's exactly why I started it. I said I can meet a ton of artists if I interview them. And then I could let those artists know. They were like, you produce? I'm like, yeah, you don't see them keyboards and beat machines and Machina and then what? Oh, I didn't know that. Let me hear some stuff. Bet. And then I'll play them some stuff. Oh, yeah, let's do that. I want to work on it. And so then that led me to work on a couple of songs with a couple of indie people in Atlanta. I was like, yeah, let's do that. That's why I did it. And now when COVID hit, I stopped because I was doing face-to-face interviews and I was like, shoot, COVID. Man, and then I transitioned to online.
Everything.
It did. And then I went from face-to-face to online and I started doing a whole bunch of virtual interviews. And then I said, it's time to get back to face-to-face, which is why we are here today. Right here, right now. Doing this today.
The Midwest.
Midwest. Hey, we the
Midwest.
Midwest.
We the
crew.
It's a
Midwest.
Midwest
That's
slang.
right.
So I'm from Virginia,
Mhm.
but St. Louis is my home though.
Ew.
So
Yeah.
oh yeah,
We
St.
love to
Louis is
hear
the
it.
home. But yeah, that's and so when we were in in St. Louis in 1999,
Mhm.
and then that's where I met my wife. We worked at the same bank together. Um, I was like, man, who is that? Ah, I gotta find out who that is. And
And she's so sweet.
oh, she absolutely.
Yeah.
And so then I took her from St. Louis because she's St. Louis, St. Louis.
Mhm.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, she's St. You know what that is. She's St. Louis, St. Louis. And so then we moved from St. Louis to Virginia. Because I wanted to be near my mom. I wanted to be near my brother. I ain't seen them in so long. I didn't even see
That
them grow
makes
up.
sense.
I didn't see them grow up because I went straight. Once again, I was in the military when I was in high school. So when I got out of high school, I had to go straight to basic training, straight to the military. That's what I did. So I didn't get a chance to see them grow up, none of that. And I wanted to be near my brother. So we spent 8 years in Virginia.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, we got to go back to St. Louis. And we moved back to St. Louis. So like I see them grow up now for 8 years. Like time to go back home.
Yeah, that's where my dad from, St. Louis.
Oh yeah. What parts?
Well, let me see. He lived in what's the name of that place? He's from East St. Louis, but I
Mhm.
say St. Louis because
Oh
it's
no, East St. Louis is different.
Mhm.
yeah.
We
He said
love
East St. Louis.
We
though.
love East St. Louis.
It's just a
though.
little
Oh,
bridge
hey,
that
I'm just
separates.
saying.
It's a little bridge. That's
It's
it.
a little
Yeah.
bridge.
Yeah.
Sometimes a highway, depending on which one
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
going.
just don't go over there at night.
But it's like the thing about it is he like grew up in St. Louis. So
Okay.
even though he was from East St. Louis, he grew up in St. Louis.
Yeah. You know what I found surprising is that St. Louis is the murder capital of the world.
What?
Yep. It
Well,
always
Wow.
it's not.
fluctuates.
Well,
It's
let
always
me
at
let me
least-
take it back. It's the murder capital of the United States,
Mhm.
Wow.
which is so crazy to me.
And it's always at least in like the top 3. Sometimes it
so
may,
crazy.
Mhm.
and that's sad.
So I told my wife that she was like, "No, it ain't. No, it is not."
Yeah, that's how I feel.
She's like,
yeah.
"No, nah, it ain't." And we looked it up, and then the top 7 or the top 6 are in Mexico.
Mm.
Number 7 is St. Louis, as the
Wow.
murder capitals of the world. 6 of them are in Mexico. St. Louis is number 7 in the United States. It's the number 1 in the United States. I was like, weird. I didn't see anybody
That's
get murdered in
sad.
St. Louis.
Yeah, I know.
But
That's
then again,
weird.
I lived in Maryland Heights. I lived
Oh,
in New
that's
City.
why the
lived
murder
in-
rate in St. Louis.
I lived in St.
is-
Charles. Right?
That's why. It's okay.
That's
It's
why.
okay. That's probably why.
I didn't live on Grand.
Yeah.
Nah,
The murder rate in St. Louis is sad.
it's crazy.
It's sad. And
It's
St.
sad.
Louis is the reason why when I first moved to Atlanta, not even when I just first moved here, no matter where I went to,
Mhm.
it was by habit we back into our parking spots. I find it so weird when people pull into parking spots and people I never really realized that I backed into it
Mhm.
until people in Atlanta started saying, "Why you always?" And I'm like, "Well, I do." And I'm like, I kind of find
we
it weird that y'all don't. Now that we talking
Cause
about,
we gotta get.
but you got to
we
be.
gotta get away.
It's sad. It's
We
sad
gotta
to
get
say
away.
that. And most people that I meet in Atlanta from St. Louis, everybody is the same. They all back into parking.
I'm gonna show you the
spots.
garage when
Everybody.
we done.
Back
you
in, right.
backed
It's
into
like
the
you
parking
and
spot.
it's
Yeah.
like you don't even think about it. It's just you pull, unless it's a parking spot, you have to pull in. Otherwise, it's a natural.
I only
That's crazy that
drive
you said
in
that.
if
My
I'm
dad
lazy.
back saying,
drive in
I
if
ain't
I'm
paid
lazy.
no attention to that.
Oh yeah, I only drive
You
in if
want
I'm
to be
lazy.
able to just leave.
Yeah.
And
You gotta
that-
just leave if something happened. I had a friend of mine who got shot at on the highway.
I can believe it.
Yeah, but it was
It was recently a
He-
shootout on the Atlanta highway too.
it
Oh,
was a
yeah,
shootout at a gas
yeah.
I
station.
shared that. Oh, you talking about the one where I saw that too.
I'm
People
like,
don't believe Atlanta crime rate is crazy.
you can't even
and
get
it
gas
is.
without getting shot at. I was like, oh.
And that was
Right.
bad. That was a bad shootout.
But honestly, there's certain gas stations I just don't go to. So I'm just saying, like, I go to them before, and I look around, like, I ain't coming back here.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Go with what you feel.
Nope. Not doing it. Not doing it. Can't do it. I gotta get home.
Go with what you feel.
I gotta get home. Yeah, that's the crazy. I gotta get home. Okay, so let's segue back to the music thing, right? That's what we're supposed to be talking about. Yeah, so that's my whole thing. That's how I was selfish. I wanted to meet a whole bunch of artists, and so I started something to bring artists together where I can interview them so that I can make music with them.
And selfish
was-
works in your
Say-
favor.
it worked. It worked. It worked in my favor. That's how I
Mhm.
met you. That's how I met Yohance.
Mhm.
That's how I met a ton of people in Atlanta. Is I'm going to interview you,
Mhm.
and I'm going to go network, and I'm going to meet a lot of people.
You walking in your purpose.
And so,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I still like music. I don't. So my son jokes with me. I'm like, I make music. He goes, but do you? But do you though?
I don't know that you do.
I was like, you know what? You're really right. I really don't make music. I like it, but I really don't. I like doing this. I'm more into
Mhm.
film and creating series and programs for independent music people. And that's what We Create Music TV is. And so that's why we got the Sync Master joint coming out. We have a bunch of podcasts and interviews. We have another segment called Backstage Pass.
Mhm.
That's what I need Bird One for.
Okay,
For
gotcha.
Backstage Pass, where we talk about the major hits that they have, and they walk us through how they produced that hit and how that song became a major hit for them. And then we have Rhythm and Roots, which is the documentary that Drums and Roses did.
Okay.
I just rebranded it called Rhythm and Roots, and that's
Yeah.
where we talk about their life and how their life led them to where they are now. And if you haven't watched that, I don't know if you've seen it, but if you haven't watched that one with
Oh, he from
drums-
Milwaukee.
He's from Milwaukee. He's from Milwaukee. With Drums and Roses, he tells his entire life story.
Okay.
And it was an amazing story. It was like, wow. And so that's kind of the
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, I'm Jamaican too.
what?
Yeah. No, he's Jamaican too.
Oh, John?
Yeah, John.
What? Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He is because
Yeah,
he told me about his dad.
Yeah.
He told me about his dad.
Yep.
That's right. He told a story about how his dad looks white, but he's and so
Really?
he's Jamaican and Irish.
he's Jamaican and Irish, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, I'm Jamaican, but it's whatever.
no Irish,
No Irish, just Jamaican.
just Jamaican, no Irish.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the whole thing for what I'm trying to do with this platform. And
You're
I
doing
believe
it, not trying.
I'm doing it. Let's we got to change trajectory of words and how we speak to bring those words into to reality. I heard a clip today on Instagram, old black and white clip. This guy said, "You know what I want you to do?" He said, "I want you to just relax your whole body, and I want for you to really think about what you really want to be in life. And I want you to then write that down. What does that look like? I want you to write it down, and I want you to be descriptive." He was like, "I want you to be descriptive of what that is. And then I want you to say that to yourself over and over and over again." He said, "Because you'll realize is that our thoughts will impact our feelings, and our feelings will impact our actions." And so, and that's true. Like
That's
that
100% true.
absolutely is true. How we think impacts what we do, which impacts the results that we get. So we believe that we're this, and we say that to ourselves continuously.
Mhm.
Yeah, I believe that power is
The feeling. The feeling most. I be thinking it's the feeling most importantly. Like it's power in words. Like we
Mhm.
gotta speak it. I agree with that. And then we gotta believe it. I agree with that. Then we gotta know it. But we have to feel it. Like feel
Mhm.
good, I guess. It's like we live in a vibrational based universe. So sometimes we can speak these things and I'm gonna be this and say how we're feeling so great. But the universe knows if we really feeling it.
yeah.
And that's what, it's like
Mhm.
the universe don't speak a particular language, I suppose. So it's like, what are we vibrating on? Like, am I really saying I feel amazing and I'm going to be this big performer when inside I'm thinking like, no, I'm not. And how am I,
Yeah, exactly.
the universe picks up on that vibration. I don't know if that makes sense because
No,
that ain't
it-
all the way my lane.
No, that makes 100% sense.
But you know what I mean? It's like, even after speaking it and believing it and knowing it, we just have to feel good. The path of least resistance,
Yeah.
as Abraham Hicks
Because
called
your feelings are going to dictate how you respond to that situation,
everything.
to everything.
And that response is what we're going to build momentum on. And I do
Mhm.
believe it's like a little 17-second rule that they say, like, when you have one thought, you got about 17 seconds before another thought come just like it. Then another one. Now
Mhm.
you building momentum off that. So it's like I
Mhm.
try to, if I think negative, which I do all the time, I'm human.
That we're human.
But I try to hurry up and correct it. But because
That's right.
then
Yeah,
momentum
because
building.
yeah. So there's this doctor, I can't remember his name, but he calls those ants, automatic negative thoughts, and he says sometimes you got to just squish them. I'm like,
Yes.
oh man, I like he said you got to.
But they don't die
He said not.
because ants don't die. Like that.
He's like you got to just squish them. He's like, because he said, and that's the ability of us as humans, is that we have the ability to separate ourselves from our thoughts and to analyze our thoughts and to determine if those thoughts are really true or not. And if they're not true, then we just like, okay, get out of here. But I was like you, Elle B. Like, I was a singer. I sang in choirs. I never sang in church, but I sang in choirs. I sang in state choir. But I was always afraid to sing by myself. I'm still afraid to sing.
Different.
I'm still afraid to sing by myself.
That's why you should do it.
I'll tell you, I'm definitely afraid to sing by myself. Like, still.
Oh, man.
That's why you should do it,
that's
right?
why you should
Still.
do it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And growing up, I was in choir at school. I sung in church choir, so I get it. But you actually used to sing. Like, you like to sing.
I like to sing. I love to sing.
You should get back to it.
No.
Do what she said.
You know what I mean?
Do what she said.
You should. It's something there.
It's something
If
there.
that's your gift, it's somebody you're supposed to minister to. You might just.
Is there an age limit?
No.
Nah.
People.
The industry make you think
make you
that.
believe it.
But check this out. Remember, Lenny Williams is my cousin. He in his 70s. You know what I'm saying? He still sound like he did back in the day.
Yeah, but Lenny Williams started back in the day though.
He was like 18 when he started.
Yeah,
with that song.
After this year's Grammy wins, like
who?
Everybody, I loved it. Even in the country lane. What was his name? Rolly?
Yeah,
but everybody was just older.
Tennessee.
Like, everybody was over, like 40 plus. It was so many.
Right.
Age don't mean, especially when you're doing it according to your purpose.
Yeah.
When you walking in your purpose,
Sure,
age don't matter.
He's in his 50s.
Yo, I actually saw
He like 48, or is he 50?
Yeah, he's like in his 50s.
But y'all talking about people who already like started when they were young.
No, but
I don't think
he wasn't that popular with Outkast and them, like, on their albums. He didn't get popular till like now.
I did see. So I was at the.
But he deserved it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I saw him perform at the. So in January we had a Grammy nomination party. So I'm a member of the Recording Academy, and so we had a Grammy nomination party, and Money Long was there. Who else was there? Killer Mike was there. He performed. Money Long performed. But Killer Mike, when he came to perform, he killed it. We were like, I got still video of him killed. Oh man, he killed it. And I was glad that he won those three. I think he won 3 that night. Yeah. Murdered it. He did a fantastic job that night. Money Long came out and did her thing. And see, so the funny thing about Money Long is that I don't know her personally, but I met her at ASCAP years ago, and I knew her then as Priscilla Renee.
She was just writing then.
Yeah, she was a writer. Yeah. And so she did a bunch of classes out at ASCAP. And I'll never forget, if I ever meet her, I'm going to tell her that the best class that she's ever done was a class on how to network. And that class, she said, most people, when they go to network and they go to events, the first thing they say is, hey, oh, you do music? What do you do? What do you do? You do music? Oh, okay. And she was like, y'all doing it wrong. And she laid out this whole plan. I was like,
I love to meet her.
I was like, yo, that is exactly how you do it.
That's how I network, man. It don't matter who it is. I could meet Michael Jackson, rest in peace, but I'll talk to him. I wouldn't be like nervous or nothing like that.
Oh, I'll talk to anybody.
Yeah, that's how I am. I'll talk to anybody. I don't care who it is.
Anybody. It don't matter who it is. I will talk to you. But see, for me, I get that because of my day job. So in my day job, I used to travel the country training CEOs of companies. These guys are worth 50, 60, 100 million. Yeah. Like, they're famous in the business world, and they're CEOs of multinational companies. I never had an issue talking to a CEO of a company. And so if I meet a famous person, I have no idea, because I think that experience of speaking to them and actually training them on how to be better leaders. If I met, Jay-Z, it was like, hey, what's up? They're like, how come he's not starstruck? Yeah. I talk to millionaires all the time. Like, this dude is worth $1 billion.
I mean, it's
I'm
just
helping
another
him and his
person.
company.
It's a person.
Don't have much
It's
time.
it's a
to be
person.
It's a person.
It's a person.
That's it.
Don't
It's a
have
person.
much time to be starstruck.
Yeah, ain't got
Yeah.
It's a person.
Yeah.
So
And they would prefer that anyways, that you talk to them like that.
do they? But do they? But I'm
They
doing
do.
one of my sons.
They really
do. They really?
They really do. Like, I know, like, I got a couple cousins that were in the NFL, and it's like,
Oh, me too.
like, they would prefer you know, talk to them like that and not be a fan. Like, oh, you got this many touchdowns. Just talk about anything else.
Yeah. What team did your relatives play for?
Ryan played for the Lions. He was there when Barry Sanders was there. So,
Nice.
and then I had another cousin, Lance. He played with the LA Rams. He was a tight end.
Nice. Yeah, I had a cousin, or I have a cousin. I have a cousin, David Gerard.
Oh, okay.
Quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I got when my mom passed, before she passed, she gave me his jersey. So yeah, I was like, oh, David Gerard, huh? Okay, great. I'm glad he's a family member. Never met him.
Yeah.
Like, all right, that's. But I do have a family member that is actually really well, besides like Whitney Houston and all them that I never met. This one I actually met and know. And he's from St. Louis. That's the thing, Tyron Woodley. And so is he 5-time MMA champion, something like that. He's the one. He got in a fight with Jake Paul or Jake Logan or
Paul
Logan.
Jake, one of those.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the whole music things. So here's a question for the both of you. So when you look out right now at the independent music landscape, what does it look like to you? How do you perceive this independent? And I'm only talking about independent music landscape. What does it look like?
I think they're doing pretty good. Like, I'm from Milwaukee, and there's a couple artists there. You know, like I said about TikTok, one dude, Chris Brown, singing this song. Let me see, Wiz Khalifa singing the dude's song. His name is JP, and dude got popular, and his songs is out of there. It's like, he's not the best rapper in the world, but it's a catchy song.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I see, when I look at it, I do agree with that. I think independent artists are doing good because a lot of them inspire me. You know, so I do agree with that. But I also see a lot of people that, I don't know. I see a system that's being created that's going to find a way to move around gatekeepers, if you will. It's like, and it's like with the help of people who are already I know we're looking at independent artists, but it seems like, I could be wrong because I'm still at the beginning of my journey as an artist. But from what I've seen over the last few years, it looked like some of the more resourceful artists, you know, that has positioned themselves. Some of them, I don't know, I see them kind of reaching. I don't know, but I see independent artists finding a way to get around the gatekeeping. You can't get around the gatekeeping. But you know what I mean? It's like I see a lot of hungry artists. But I also, to a certain extent, kind of see a support system. I see, when I say get around gatekeeping, like you spoke about Jay Nolan and like people who have experienced things that can come back and like, it's a lot of independent artists, but it's so much that's happening to where the independent artists can take these other avenues until you really have to get to gatekeepers, if you will. Like, too many people are giving out information, and I see a lot of independent artists that's reaching for it. You know, you got some that sit and make all the excuses in the world.
Right.
And I can be that at times, you know, from here. Not all the time, but sometimes, you know, we all come up with excuses. But I see a lot of hungry artists that's gonna figure it out. It's in this season, it also seemed like a lot of artists are following like a life mission. Like, even when you just sit and watch interviews, like artists I've never even met, but they're up and coming and independent. And when you watch their interviews and stuff, it's just like a lot of people who God is really leading, if you will. And I don't want to just say God, I believe in God. For somebody, it could be the universe, whatever it is
Right.
that they pray or meditate to, that higher power is really leading them to something and they're being obedient. It's like I see a bunch of obedient, independent artists right now. You know, regardless of what type of music they making or this and that. Like when I look at the spirit of the artist that's independent, that's kind of what I'm seeing.
Do you think that there's, you mentioned there's a system. Do you think there's a system that is being created to stifle the growth of or exposure of independent music creatives?
I think that's always been. I think if anything, that system is about to fall. Like that system that stifles that you're talking about, I would consider that as some of the gatekeepers. And I don't want to keep using that word because I don't personally know any. Because some of the ones that are, some of them are the ones I don't, like Ray Daniels and others dropping all the knowledge. They not trying to gatekeep me. So I guess that's what I mean. It's like that system that's been there. I guess it's been there. It's about it's falling. And it ain't failed yet. And it's gonna be a minute before it do. But I mean, I think just as America is falling, as this, in my opinion, this entire world as we know it is falling, so is its system of things. Whatever that may be. All of its systems of things are also falling. But this system of things over here is coming up. So everything that's falling, we still gonna have it.
Right.
It's just gonna be different leadership. It's gonna be different, and that's kind of what I'm seeing. Even though that ain't what quite has happened yet.
Right.
I don't know. That's what I see happening.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think it's a great time to be an independent music creative. I think it's the worst time to be an independent music creative. I think, and the reason why I think it's a perfect time because there's so many things at a independent music creatives that they could take advantage of, so many avenues that they can take. But I also think that there are things in place that I don't want to say that they're set up. I think that I just think there's a lot of barriers for artists to maximize their potential to be an actual artist, music producer, whatever it is, right? But then again, I also think that you got to actually do the work that needs to be done, right? Like take for example, I don't know his name. The artist that used the song that now Sony's suing for like $850,000, which is so crazy. But they're suing him for $850,000 because he used a sample that, a producer that produced the music used a sample that he purchased that came from a sample pack that was purchased that had a sample in it that wasn't cleared that this artist used in a song that he put out, and he received like millions of streams from it. Sony is like, I want some money now.
Yeah.
Right. But that's why I think it's the best time. And I think it's also the worst time. It's the best time because there's so many avenues that are available for music creatives. I think it's the worst time because a lot of times from my perspective, and I'm always reading, like news about, like I subscribe to daily music news and read all the stuff that's happening in there. Like Travis Scott, he got to go and actually go to court for Astroworld. I read that today, which is so crazy. But
for that stampede.
Yeah. He got to go. He got to go to court for that now. Yep.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't necessarily him. It happens.
Right. It happens. Right. It happens at other concerts.
Yep.
So are those other individuals at those concerts where these types of things, fights and stampedes and all these things happen, are they also held to the same standard that now you're placing on Travis Scott? Right.
No, but they kind of asked the crowd, watch that guy right there. You know, they try to make sure people safe.
Yeah.
So, you know,
So-
nothing won't happen to them like that.
Exactly. And so that's why I think it's the best time. So many avenues. There's so TikTok. You got social media. You could blow up single handedly on TikTok and make a killing.
Man, I know.
And make a killing.
Yeah.
You know, you think 10 years ago you couldn't really do that. I mean, yeah,
but you couldn't do what was being done.
You can't do what is being done now. That's why I think it's the best time.
It's just gonna keep going. It's gonna be a whole nother TikTok or whatever service we use. It's gonna keep going.
And I think it's the worst time because you have so many. So as an example, I was listening to a podcast that I always called The Cheat Code with Wendy Day, right? And Rap Juggernaut, and I forgot the other guy. I think it's Ferris Sims. I'm not gonna get his name right, but there's another guy on the show. And they were talking about having access to data. Like you got data galore today. Like right now, you can go look at all your data from all your song streams and look at who's listening to it and what country they listening to it in and who got the most plays and what song got the most plays and blah, 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 right? But if you don't really, and he was right, he was like, if you don't really know how to interpret the data, then it don't really do you any good. And that's why I say it's also the worst because we have people who don't go learn how to do that. Record labels took care of all that, right? A&Rs and record labels, and they had a whole media and marketing and data analytics and all those. So the artists didn't have to worry about that. Artists have to worry about that now. And so
it's a catch-22.
Yeah, like you got to worry about. I'm not an artist, right? You got to worry about a lot. You know?
But yeah, it's a lot that come with it.
Like, how do you like if you had a song that blew up and it was being played all over? How would you know where to go to now have like shows in those cities that your songs have had the most plays in? Right. That's the thing. So how do you use that data? Like, so there's an artist.
And I know is it Sound Exchange? No, I don't think it's Sound Exchange. I know when you register your songs, when you get a copyright. No, not Sound Scan.
Sound Exchange.
It might be Sound Exchange where you can even keep up with your royalties from.
Because
there's a lot of things I didn't quite understand. I just knew, okay, got to get this done. I need to get this done. So I'm going to do what needs to be done. But I do need to learn exactly what it is that I'm doing. I'm going to do it because one thing I learned is you want to get the business side done. Even when you get the business side done, you still could fall short. Like you said, the guy that's getting sued, he probably thought he had his ducks in a row, but the producer,
he probably thought he was cool. He was like, but then it goes back to like whose responsibility is to clear that sample. Is it the producer's responsibility to clear the sample? Is it the artist's responsibility to clear the sample? Right? Different people have different opinions. A lot of people say it's producer. A lot of people say it's artist. It's like because the record labels would then clear the sample. If they purchased a track that had a sample, then the record labels would go through that process A&Rs to clear it. They don't. Who does that? Besides, like track
like she said, the artist and the producer.
Yeah. So do they know how to get it cleared?
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. That's why I say for me, it's the best time and the worst time. It's the best time. So many avenues. It's the worst time because now you got to know the business. You got to know what the record labels used to do for you that they no longer do. And if you're not doing those things or you don't want to do those things, they're going to figure out how to get you.
And that's one thing I'm glad that my journey was one to where I had to kind of begin to learn the business. Even though I ain't finna act like I know but my journey was one that I had to sit and really understand how important the business is, which makes me that much teachable or coachable as I'm getting out there. Because I've met since, being an artist, because it ain't even been 2 years since I've been an artist. All this time, I've strictly been songwriting, so I just, at the end of 2021 is when I think I first dropped a single.
You're like, I'm about to do this.
Yeah, because a lot of people would tell me on my journey, like, Elle, you are the artist when I'm writing with them. And it's like, I'm not. But a lot of people would tell me that. And then the right two people, it was like a ministry there to where something just said, you know what, quit fighting it. Maybe you are the artist, So I'm glad but by the time I came to that decision, I had already been in an environment where I had to understand how important the business is. We had to learn about it whether we wanted to or not.
Exactly.
So since being an artist, I've been in environments where I met other really dope artists, got the confidence, you know, but they're not coachable, they're not teachable.
Exactly.
They don't want to hear nothing about the business. They think they get, and it's kind of like it don't work like that. You might want to listen to this person that's trying to
Exactly.
warn you about
Exactly,
some things,
yeah.
you know. And that's why I don't know. That's why I say I see a lot of artists that are walking in a particular purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just by watching their interviews and things. And when you walking according to your purpose, it may take you a lot longer. You know, may take you a lot
It may.
longer because you're not worried about your age.
Yeah.
You're not trying to
wow.
rush anything. You just allowing
I guess I am.
source to connect you, you know,
Right.
organically with who you're supposed to connect with. And
Exactly.
you find a way to just enjoy the journey, because when you rush into it,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Well, stuff happens so quick.
quick,
It's
Quick.
crazy.
Stuff
quick.
happens so quick. But I think going back to that, that's why, once again, I think it's the best time and the worst time
Catch 22.
is because artists back in our time, in our day, right? In our time, you know, like it's the way back then. We didn't have to really think about all that. Like you had artists who wanted to know the business, but they didn't. There's a bug in here. But they didn't want to. They didn't have to know how to do all those different things. They were just an artist, right? I think when this show had been out for a while, I had just watched it. I think last year, which is the New Edition story. I didn't even know they made one. I just happened to run across
I watched that as soon as it came out.
I'm like, New Edition, where this come from? But there was that one scene in there when Michael Bivins
asked, "What percentage you getting?"
Yeah, he walked up to him. He walked into the office. It was like, who is this? Who is this? He was like, how you gonna come up in my office in front of all these people? He's like, man, shit, right? He was like, come in, let me tell you some stuff. And that really was the thing.
That's what got him.
That he was like, wait,
Voice of man.
Yeah, that's right. He was like, we're signed to him, to Gary's label. We're not signed to RC. What? He was like, you want to know the music business? This is the music business. And I think a lot of times that there's a lot of artists, producers, engineers, whoever, that don't really want to know the music business. And it's so crazy because it's, once again, it's the best time because it's all out there. You got Ray Daniels who are out there. You got another podcast called The Cheat Code.
So
you got
many.
us that's out there.
So many.
You got books. You got Ari's book, which is see, I'm gonna mess up names of books. But you got Ari's books, which is the how to be a music. Ari, I'm gonna mess your book name up. I already know it. But he wrote an entire book about how to be successful as an independent artist. You got Donald Passman's book. I mean, you got so many books, so many tutorials. You got YouTube, right? You got tons of people talking about stuff. All you got to do is put the time and effort and go actually
research.
Learn it.
Yeah,
Research, learn it. They'll give you what you need.
I got to deal like with artists like not want to learn the business. They want to perform. I'm like, literally learn the business. Like I have artists filling out information. Dang, it's a lot of work to fill out. Like they telling me this, I'm like, you the artist, I can't fill it out.
I can't fill it out. I got to do split sheets. What's the?
Yeah. And you should want to know those things. But then again, I feel like after becoming an artist, you know, because at first I was just a writer. I feel like that's why I keep saying I'm grateful that my journey was the way it was. Because I could have easily been that same artist that don't want to hear nothing. You know, respectfully, a lot of them don't want to hear nothing. And while acting like that, not understanding that it's an emotionalist business. Ain't no emotions.
Ain't no emotions.
In the business part. None.
This is what the contract says.
None.
The contract says this. Do you know what the contract says? Do you know what image and likeness means?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what a sunset clause is? Do you know what
forever
in perpetuity? Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know what that means. I thought it was perfection. No, it means forever.
Forever.
Like, but you got people. Oh, I got to get a lawyer. That means I got to pay money. Yeah, you got to pay money to have a lawyer look at this.
It's a lot that come with it. And if you just rushing into it, then I'm sure that person's journey is what it is. You know, no judgment.
It is what it is.
But it's better to just don't rush it. Don't rush it.
Don't rush it. Don't rush it. Okay, so as we wrap up, so what would be your top two things we'll end with our top 2 things that we would give to anybody that is in this music industry that's looking to be somewhat, um, I say, somewhat successful. And I guess that depends on what does success really mean to each other, right? To another person, because it's different for each people. But if you had to give 2 pieces of advice, what would that be?
The advice that I give to myself, because I'm still aiming for the success. So the advice that I remind myself is the authenticity that we
Mm.
talk about, that we talked about. Always walk into the room as yourself, which I'm getting better and better at, because I know I've had a past to where when I walk in the room, my energy connects with people. But as conversations go on, I talk about all the controversial type of, just your conversation would cause people not to really like you.
Mm.
And I don't leave out no topic. Every subject can be talked about, because everything is, you got to quit being scared to talk about certain
Right,
things.
right.
But that used to cause me to not show up completely as myself,
Mm.
because I don't want to offend nobody. I just got to be myself, because I'm always move with love.
Right.
I don't move with disrespect anyway. So I would say be your authentic self. Um, be, as I just said, coachable, be teachable. Like whatever you think you probably don't. So put all that down for the most part and be
Yep.
willing to unlearn, to relearn. Um, I'll say that, and to know what you want. And that's something that I'm still trying to answer. Like, I know what I want, gosh, I see this vision, and I know under the umbrella of what I'm doing, all these different things I want to do, whether it's with single mothers, whether it's with kids, because kids is like a big part of my why. The different community things I see myself doing, the school back home that I had my eye on, me and some friends long before even moving to. It's so many things I see myself doing, and even with the grant writing and all type of stuff that I see, and why I want to do these things. But then when I'm asked, what do you want now? Sometimes I can't give a direct answer.
Mm.
And you might find yourself in a room where you need to be able to say what it is,
Right.
be prepared for
Well,
that.
why is that? Why do you think? I know we're going back to asking questions now.
No,
but...
no, you're okay. I think I'm just learning. When I have time to really sit and talk to a person, they'll understand what it is that I want. But sometimes you don't have time to play that violin. You just got to answer the question, and it ain't that I don't know. I think knowing how to word it.
Okay.
Just knowing how to word. And sometimes in order to word it, you have to fully receive whatever vision God gave you. Sometimes you might see something so big that you can't even verbally communicate it, because, like, do I sound stupid? But this is what I see,
Right.
So it's like, know exactly
True.
what you want at that time.
Right.
Like, don't let that opportunity pass because you can't. And not even just with an artist, with a job, with anything. Don't know the answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But most importantly, be your authentic
Be
self,
you.
because people see right through it. We
Be
living
you.
in a time where people see right through phoniness. People don't like certain artists out here, but they just who they are.
Yeah. I'm so. Real quick story. Real quick story.
Story time.
So story time, right? We should have a sound effect for like story time. But so a friend of mine, I won't give his name, but a friend of mine, he is a very successful music executive, right? And we were at A3C, and I saw him at A3C, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on, man?" He was like, "Hey, what's going on? How you doing? Like, good to see you. Like, good to see you." And so we went. So he had a son there, and his son is into music and does music stuff too. Wants to be like a music executive. And so we went. I was like, "Hey, look, I don't know what your plans are. Let's go to lunch." Right? He was like, "Bet." Bring the son. We went to lunch. At lunch, he was like, and we're just sitting there chit chatting, talking. I'm like, "Hey, man, so what you got going on? Okay, cool. How you doing this? Blah blah blah." Right? This whole conversation, it was just like now a conversation. And as we left and went back to A3C later on that evening, I got a text. And he was like, Hey, I just wanted to say thank you for being you. He said, my son needed to see that. He said he needed to see somebody who wasn't caught up with me, being the music executive, but being a person. And he said, you
Mhm.
showed him that because you didn't try to behave a certain way or respond or act a certain way. You were just you. And
Mhm.
he needed to see that because a lot of time he sees that unauthentic persona from other people being projected into this music world. He was like, I appreciate that. My
Mhm.
son needed to see that. So absolutely. I like, yes, be your authentic self.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good story too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I need a good story. We're gonna
Like
put
I'm trying to
this.
think which of nah.
You probably
I
know.
know,
You
I
probably
know,
know.
Let's
I
You
see what
probably
we
know.
know.
talking
You
about.
probably you probably know. You probably know.
Because you said the sun, so I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah. So
Yeah.
you probably know.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Yohance? Your two things.
Well, like she said, like be yourself and be authentic. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And can I add on
You
discernment?
sure? Ooh,
Discernment is everything.
ooh.
I pray for discernment increase every day.
Mm.
No matter how
What's
discerned you may
what is
already
discernment?
be,
What is that?
if I had to give it my own definition real quick, it's just really, really being in tune with your inner self. That discernment is gonna, and to I guess to really be that, you have to be so authentic and real with yourself that you know when spirit is talking to you,
Mm,
whatever you may reference that spirit
mm,
is. You know when that spirit is speaking to you to where you don't question it. People that know me, that tell that I don't question nothing that spirit showed me no more, because when I have in the past, it turned
mm.
out like you knew that was gonna happen because you've already you had to feel.
Right,
It's
right.
deeper than just a gut feeling
Mhm.
when it comes to discernment, but it shows up in everything that we do.
Mhm.
And discernment, if you're an independent artist, especially if you're out here super hungry and you out here in a homeless
Ooh.
situation, you don't know which way to go. You are the person that's about to make the change for your family. You really are getting it out the mud. A lot of people talk about getting it out the mud, but that's not really getting it out. You had a lot of
Mhm.
help, and that's okay because you still probably had a hard journey.
Mhm.
But like some people, when you lack discernment, you will mess around and have a couple of Judases right there with you.
Mm.
You mess around and sign up for something that you didn't even see coming.
You
That's
gonna
And
give
and your
crazy.
gut probably told
you
you
gonna get some
so,
stuff
but
away
Yeah,
that you won't try. Your
did
gut
you
told you
all of
so.
that, all of that, and
yeah, I
it's like
feel
that
that.
discernment. It when it stepped in, but you got to know not to question it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't question it. It's like
Yeah,
what you've been shown.
they gotta tell you.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
Like
might
you
not
can.
know exactly why you've been shown that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like when you're dealing with people, you seeing what you're seeing, but don't just go cut them off because you don't know why. But don't question yourself on what you just saw.
Exactly.
Don't do
Exactly.
yourself like that.
Exactly.
Have a conversation with the person if you care about them to see maybe okay, this is what I just picked up on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same. I would encourage independent artists to
Mm-hmm.
pray for discernment increase. It's
Yeah,
necessary.
absolutely. Yes, sir. My top two would be you need to learn the music business.
that I
Go,
should have
That
said that.
go.
that.
Yeah,
There's tons of stuff on
yeah,
YouTube. Learn about music publishing. Learn
yeah.
about the actual business itself. Like I said, Ari's book. It's the book is called How to Make It in the New Music Business by Ari Herstand. Great book. Great. Oh my gosh, it's a great book. It tells an independent artist literally how to be successful, how to
Mhm.
really make it if you follow how to do that. Matter of fact, Jay Hatch, who's going to be on here on
Mhm.
Wednesday, he wrote a great book. How
Oh
I left.
yeah, I
Yeah,
got
I
that
got the
book at
book.
home.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. How I
yeah,
left the
yeah. He
music
signed a book with
industry
me. Yeah,
and made it how I left my job and made it in the music industry.
he's a cool dude,
He gives
man.
you the tools.
Yeah,
People drop the gems. Here it is. Like,
Mhm.
are you willing to just go learn it? Are you willing to take time? Nelly told. So first time I met Nelly, right? He told me, Corn. We call him Cornell now. Like, but the first time I met
First
Nelly,
name basis.
first name basis, right? But the first time I met Nelly, he said he was like, B, he said, I'm gonna tell you. He said it's 20% talent, 80% business. You
yeah.
gotta learn it. He's like, you gotta, and at that time, I was I was attending EI by Nelly, right?
Mhm.
So I was
EI Institute.
I was one of the first students at EI. Me
Okay.
and my homie Keith back in St. Louis. We were the very first two students at Nelly
Wow.
School.
That's dope.
And so Nelly came in and he was like, look, he said, I'm gonna tell you. He said, if you don't learn nothing else, 20% talent, 80% business.
That is so true.
He was like, go learn the music business. Like, bet. All right, cool. Then you got to.
You got to.
If I had to say anything else, it's just I love that discernment thing. That discernment is like, don't compromise yourself for anything.
Anything.
Don't just because it's, oh, I could do this. Don't do it. Oh, I could go to that party. Don't do it. Right? Or I could be around those people. Don't do it.
If like your spirit ain't sitting, don't.
Right. Like I started smoking cigarettes because everybody in my army barracks smoked cigarettes. So you fall into peer pressure. I'm an 18-year-old kid, right? I got 22-year-olds around me. I got dudes from all different walks of life. I got I don't want to say what they were, but I got a roommate who was a vice lord. I got another roommate who was a crip, and they smoking, they doing this, they living that life. I'm like, yo, I'm 18, fresh out of college, fresh out of high school. Like I ain't have their lifestyle. I'm trying to be cool. Like, I'm about to do what y'all do. Don't do that. They're like, you ain't got to do what they do.
Same thing with music.
You don't got to do what they do. Just do you. Learn what's right for you and do that. Don't compromise who you are, who you want to be. Because if you compromise now, you're going to compromise later. And they're going to get you. They're going to, we got them. I won't do that. We won't do that. Man,
this ain't worth it.
Y'all, hope this has been a great conversation.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Like,
I've enjoyed.
You know what I'm saying?
Most
Like,
definitely.
We're going to get into some more stuff later on in some of these episodes. So, because trust me, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's a lot to talk about.
Lots to talk about. But I'd say that's a wrap. We wrapped up for the night. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching the Indie Unplugged. You can always catch us on, I don't even know if we even talked about the release date and when this is going to come out, but it'll be available next week though. You can make sure of that. But
We Create Music
We
TV.
Create Music TV, you know what I'm saying? That's right. That's right.
What?
But yeah, make sure you stay tuned. I appreciate the both of you being here.
We appreciate you having us.
Absolutely. All right, peace, y'all.
Peace and love, family.
Peace and love.